Shalom, shalom, family. All praises. Let the Holy Spirit come down. Allow me to decrease so the Most High may increase. Beautiful, handsome, wonderful, perfectly made individuals. This is for you who feel like you can't catch a break. Feel like you do all that you're supposed to and you still get the short end of the stick. But I'm here to tell you, you're not getting the short end. You're going through a pruning process. You're being cultivated. Just like when that seed is under the ground and it's germinating, you don't see the process from the surface. But underneath is work being made. You're trying to get the Most High trying to get you a firm foundation, deeply rooted in Him, not in man. You had to be cut off from the world, the tree of the world, and be replanted into the Most High Yah. Like a mustard seed, you're going to blossom into something great and into something big. And it takes time. The better the time it takes, the better the process, the more gratification you'll have. Because when things come easy and things come quick, they usually go quick. I remember being on the block. Yeah, it's story time. Really, I just try to be transparent and I'm being relative as best as I can because, like I said, I remember being in the streets hustling, doing things that I had no business doing or I didn't have no understanding. And I was getting that fast money. I was getting that quick money. But again, quick money, fast money, it comes as quick as it comes, as quick as it goes. And then when you don't have the foundation of what to do with these ends, when you get it, it's definitely going to go back quick, especially when you never had it. I didn't know nothing about investing, the only thing I knew was flip. That was my investment, you feel me? But the Most High is teaching me how to invest in Him. But right now I got to invest this time in Him. So do we all who say we are in this journey. Because as I always say, it's levels to this, man. To be exalted, to be asked to come up by the King, that's something beautiful, right? But a lot of us want to exalt ourselves. We want to take the little bit of understanding that we have and make it seem like we know way surpass what we think we know. I'm in a place of humility, and I'm in a place of just staying abased. If the Most High choose to use me, then I'll be used. And I want to say this because I don't want this to seem like I'm taking shots at nobody. If you on here, you have a ministry and you doing good, and you got subscribers, things of that nature, man, all praises to the Most High for you. Just make sure that you're using your platform for the sole purpose of what the Most High wants you to use your platform for. Because you don't want to get in a place of you start to get this recognition, you start to get what the Most High said He gonna give you, and then you forget about the Most High, or you forget who put you in that position. I've been sitting here reading this word. I'm reading the book of Jasher. I believe it's chapter 49. 48 and 49, where it talks about Joseph, which reading this is just get a little deeper because I didn't know Joseph's name was the angel of the Lord came to him and changed his name. Now, when I hear the angel of the Lord, I believe this to be Yahshua, or Yahushua, I should say. And when you look through the scriptures, from the Old Testament to the New Testament, Yahushua is all through it. What you call Jesus Christ, he's all through it. But he came to Joseph while he was still in the pit, while he was still in the prison of his master's house. And that angel changed his name from Joseph to Jehoshaphat. And I thought that was interesting. Because when you are sealed by the Most High, he give you his name. When you are a child of the Most High, he changes your name. He did it with, even Yahshua did it with Paul. Saul went to Paul. Simon went to Peter. It's the same thing was when Daniel, Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego, that wasn't their original names. But because they came into the dynasty of this certain kingdom, their name got changed. Even Daniel's name was Belshazzar or something like that, right? So, but meaning whatever house you under, your name can tend to change. And that's something very interesting because I remember just thinking about my children's names, right? Now, I had a name that I wanted to name my son. I didn't get the name on that. But I look at the name that he has, and it's still a name of the Most High. And I look at my daughter's name, it's a name of the Most High. So when you're a child of the Most High, no matter what, you're going to have his name, right? But I looked at this process of Joseph, man. You know, he had to come down to be humbled, to get that pride about him, because before he had favor from his father. Father gave him a coat of many colors. He going around telling his brothers dreams about them bowing down to him and all that. He was big-headed. He had some pride in him that needed to be broken down. You know, he knew he was his father's favorite. And favoritism sometimes, I'm going to say favor, not favoritism. Favor sometimes can cause us to get proud. You know, Abraham has a promised seed out here. Children of the covenant, right? The children of Israel, right? And as you see, that debate rages on every day, especially amongst different camps. Especially when you're talking to Hebrews. But when you read that story about Abraham, what was accounted to him? His faith. It said his faith was accounted to him that he was called the friend of God. Not because he had the promise. And again, I'm not slighting that because they go hand in hand. But first, you got to get your faith up. First, you got to get this spiritual eating and teaching, so you can come into the full understanding of the promise of your heritage. You have to glorify the Father so he can glorify you. Not glorify yourself so the Father can glorify you. Look at what Yahshua tells you. If you don't accept me, you don't accept the Father. And if you don't accept the Father, you don't accept Yahushua. So the story of Jehoshaphat, he had to get humbled. So he gets sold, his brothers, they do him wrong. Yeah, they did. But everything works for the glory of the Father, right? He said use the things of this world, be it good or bad, so he can get the glory. He said he gonna use the things that's weak to confine the things that's strong. He said the things that's foolish, he gonna use to confine the wise. So as I always say, we gotta become fools before we can become wise. We gotta go through the trials and the tribulation so we can get the understanding, get the breakthrough, get the revelation. So Joseph, he's in, I think, Potiphar's house, and he's found favor amongst Potiphar. That Potiphar allows him to be able to have everything in his house except for his wife. But look how the enemy worked. He got into Potiphar's wife through her lust, the pride of life, through her eyes. Because Jehoshaphat wasn't a bad looking man. And she wanted him. And what do most people do when they want what they want? They're willing to do anything nonstop. So, and I was talking to one of my homies, I said, man, yeah, he had some restraint about him. He really had some understanding and some teaching of these 10 commandments, you feel me? Because, boy, just being honest, if I didn't have the understanding that I have now and it was the old me, man, she wouldn't have had to say too much to me. I'd have been ready to, I'm just being honest. But that's why I say you got to go through a process, because there's things in you that need to come up out of you so you can get in and become who the Most High needs you to become. And that might mean you have to be unto yourself night and day. I look at the story of Enoch, man. Enoch will go in that cave. He will be unto the Most High. He will go into his secret place, be unto the Most High for weeks on end. I look at Yahushua. He would go out in 40 days. He'd go be unto the Most High unto himself. Moses would go up on that mountain, be unto the Most High. We have to understand that it's not nothing wrong with being unto yourself, as long as you taking that time and you being unto the Most High, because he has to pour into you. So Joseph having these privileges, but he's still having a strength. He's still having a spiritual discipline, because when she was throwing herself, not once did he give in. So now that she couldn't have what she wanted, false accusations been made. Now, plenty of us could probably relate to that. We done got lied on. We done got sped on. We done got talked about. People keep trying to break us down. People keep trying to come up against us. But understand, it's not people. It's the spirits in the people. And this is why I clearly made that statement about, look at what the devil did to Potiphar's wife. It was a spirit in this woman that seen the spirit of who Yehoshaphat, forgive me, Yehoshaphat was. But you see how they mirror? Because Yehoshaphat and Yahshua, they not too much different. You feel me? But she seen that spirit, and she wanted to break him down as much as she could. But she couldn't do nothing with this Hebrew man. So if you Hebrew, as you say you are, really read these scriptures and look at the men who were Hebrews and how they operate. Even when you look at Job was a man who had pride too. And the Most High had to break him down. It's not nothing wrong with having pride in what you do and who you are. But when you become prideful and then you full of boasting and arrogance. The Most High is not about that. He's the Almighty, Ancient of Days, Alpha and Omega, self-sufficient being. He is. And he doesn't do no boasting. He doesn't do no bragging. That's why he's sitting up there high on that throne, in that kingship, in that place where he's supposed to be. It was the enemy. It was the devil, Satan, Lucifer, whatever you want to call him, who had the pride. That's why they say pride before the fall. We in a generation full of pride. The Leviathan spirit is on the rise. We got pride parades. We got proud to be black. Everything is about, oh, they after the black man. They after the chosen seed. They after this, after that. We ain't that important. But we know how to make ourselves seem more important than what we are. And I'm not taking nothing from my people. I love us. I love y'all. But understand, this isn't about a color or a race. This is about humanity itself. Because as I seen devils in other nations and other cultures, I see devils in my own people. As well as I seen the opposite. And who am I to tell you that because you're not of my nationality, or you not of my race, or you not of my people, that you can't get into this thing that Yahshua and Jesus is giving freely? Who am I? I can't stop that. Now, only thing I can do is get in my position the way that he wanted me to be, and be able to lead and teach the right way of receiving this understanding and receiving this word. But that comes with reading the word, spending time with Yahshua and the Holy Spirit, letting it abode in you, letting it reside in your tabernacle, letting them reside in your tabernacle. So, getting back to Joseph, as he was accused of doing something he didn't, he ended up in prison, in his master's prison house. Two other servants came in there, a baker and I guess a cupbearer, had dreams. And this is why the Most High said, your gift will make a way for you. See, because I'm looking at the story of, and y'all got to forgive me, but I just, I'm piecing things together as, I'm giving this word, but I'm looking at Esau and I'm looking at Jacob, or Israel. Esau gave up his birthright, right, for some pottage, because he was hungry. But as I read this book of Yahshua, it says about how Esau killed Nimrod. Now, if I go before, it talks about how Nimrod tried to kill Abraham because he seen a sign in the sky. And his magicians or diviners or dreamers, interpreters, told him that that sign was because Abraham was going to kill him. It wasn't going to be Abraham per se. It was going to be Abraham's seed. So Nimrod tried to kill Abraham, right? So because Terah, Abraham's father, loved him, and he just had Abraham. It was his newborn baby. He did some trickery, messed around, took his maid's newborn baby, gave it to King Nimrod. Of course, Nimrod lied about what he was going to do with the baby. As soon as he got the baby, took him, threw him up against the wall, killed him, boop. Which allowed Abraham to go be raised underneath Noah and Shem, Melchizedek, so he can get the teaching and get the understanding. And they taught him who Yah was. So now Abraham's a little older. He goes back to his father's house, and he realized that his father is worshiping gods. He got a god for every day of the week. He goes in here in this place where his father worships these gods. He asks his mother to make some savory food, meat, whatever, so he could sacrifice to the gods. And as he put him in there, he seen that day that nothing happened. So a fire was kindled in him because he trying to understand why his father worshiping these idol gods made of wood and stone, made of his hands. So he said maybe the meat, maybe the food wasn't prepared right. So he goes and said, you know what, Ma, I need you to do this again. So he said at that time, he's not going, and I don't mean to go into the whole story, but y'all need to really get in the book of Jasher if you haven't. Just like I said, for me, it filling some missing pieces. So he took an axe, put it in one of the God's hand. He destroyed all the rest of them. His father came home, seen it. He was looking at Abraham. He asked him what he did. He like, what you mean, father? Abraham, like, I don't know what you're talking about. He said, somebody came in here and basically destroyed he said, no, it's the one that had the axe in his hand. He must have got mad and he wanted all the offering to himself. And I'm paraphrasing. And his father said, how can he do that? He can't move. He can't eat. He can't see. He can't talk. So Abraham right there said, well, if that's the case, and his name was Abraham at the time, it was Abram. But he like, if that's the case, why are you worshiping things that can't see? Things that can't talk? When it's a real true God that you should be worshiping. Yah. But that kindled his father. That made him angry. And his father went to Nimrod and told him about what his son did. And I guess his father, this was also his business, so he was selling these things as well. But then now Nimrod looking at, well, I thought this son was supposed to have killed this son. So look at how all this about to fall apart. And now Terah looking like, but dang, I came and snitched on my son, but I came and snitched on myself too. So to save himself, he lies on his oldest son. I think it's Nahor. I think, I'm not quite sure, but Abraham's older brother at the time, and said that it was Abraham's older brother who advised him to do what he did when Abraham was a baby. So now Nimrod say he wants Abraham and he wants the older son. So now you got the oldest son and you got the oldest son and Abraham. Nimrod is about to throw them into this fiery furnace. Now look at this. They say ain't nothing new under the sun. I'm thinking Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego was the first ones thrown into a fiery furnace and survived. No, it was actually Abraham and his brother. But wait, there's more. So as Abraham and his brother are getting thrown into this fiery furnace and they bound up, Abraham's brothers, he makes a decision in his mind that if Abraham God can get me out of this, I'll worship his God. But what's the the end result if you don't? Now you're dead anyway. So you trying to worship Yah due to circumstances. But see, Abraham had been serving Yah. He had been spending time with Yah. You feel me? This is why I say it's different between you just reading this word and you just going to church And you just taking those little moments and just praying versus spending time with Yah. If you really want to see Yah move in your life, it's called relationship over religion. See, Abraham didn't have no fear. He knew even however way it go, either y'all gonna get me out of this. If he don't, then I go be with him. What he say? To be absent from the body is to be in the presence of Yah. So, as they get thrown in this furnace, and of course he cranked it up the same way he did with Meshach, Shadrach, and they cranked that furnace up as high as it go. I'm trying to tell you, hell is real. And you think that's high. You think this furnace high. Think about this hell non-stop. But as they get thrown in this furnace, obviously Abraham's brother died because he didn't have no faith. He didn't really believe. He was on some circumstantial type situation. So next thing you know, you got Abraham in the fire, moving around, walking around with the presence of the Most High. Everything that got burnt, I mean, nothing was burnt except for the ropes that was binding them. And he's walking in the fire. This is why we got to be on fire for the Holy Spirit, man. On fire for the Most High. I mean, letting the Holy Spirit set us on fire. Feel me? He said you either going to be hot or you're going to be cold, but don't be lukewarm because I'm going to spit you out. I want to be on fire for the Most High. So, come back down the line. Now, of course, we know Esau and Jacob, these Abraham grandsons, right? So, Esau sees Nimrod in the cooler day or whatever. He walking with his men. Now, we know Esau vicious. He like that with that. You know, he a hunter. So he decapitates Nimrod head. He takes that garment, that cloak that Nimrod had. Now understand, the cloak that Nimrod had was passed down because it was actually Adam's. Adam's gave it to Noah. It was, or somehow came unto Noah. Ham ended up getting it. Ham ended up giving it to Cush. Cush ended up giving it to Nimrod. And like I said, all this is family. All this is family, right? So now Esau got it. But see, they done made this garment now something of evil. Evil spirits are now inhabiting this thing. And we know spirits can move through places, people, places, and things. So now Esau has this. He's willing to give up his birthright because now he feel like he got the power, the juice. And this is how I look at us, because we supposed to be covenant holders, but we giving up our covenant promise for quick, or I should say fast rewards, instant gratification, instead of going through the process of being patient and being remolded and broken down the way that the Most High wants us to be, so he can create us, so he can form us, to where he wants us to be, so we can operate solely 100% at capacity of where he wants us to operate. So Esau gave up his birthright to be a part of the Confederacy, which Cain was a part of, which Ishmael was a part of, which that side of the family gave it up so they can be in league with the fallen. And like I said, this thing goes deep. See, when you got pride in you, that's what the enemy is working on. That's what he's holding on to. See, that's why when the devil came up to the throne of the Most High and he said, Job, because he sensed that pride in Job. But see, the Most High had faith in Job, because Job had a heart that was righteous, but he had actions that led him to be prideful. Same thing with Jehoshaphat. But how do you get rid of the pride? You got to allow it to die. So once Jehoshaphat realized that he was put in this pit, or he was put in this prison, he didn't, why me? Nah, I ain't supposed to be here. You know, he started to realize this is the doing of the Most High Yah. This is what he has for me. This is what he intended for me to be. So while I'm here and while I'm in this position, why I don't have a job, why I don't have a car, maybe even why I don't have a house or a place or a roof over my head, I'm still going to praise the Most High. I watch poor people, and I don't mean to say poor people and that's it, but people who live out in the street, and they be so content. They got so much joy. They got more joy than a person who got a house, a Bentley, got all the finer things in life. You know why? Because they stress free. Yeah, it might can be troublesome at times trying to figure out where you're going to get your next meal or where you're going to lay your head at. But it's just as struggling and troubling sometimes, and it's stressful when you got things and you feel like you got it all together when you really don't. It's two sides to every coin, man. But my whole thing is, if the Most High ain't operating and leading you, you could think you about to get out of wilderness season and be getting right back into going into another wilderness, because the Most High took the children to Israel through 4 wilderness. So I can only imagine they think, okay, we just got out this wilderness, but the complaining, the murmuring, the rebellion, oh, he finally take you out of the wilderness and you want to go back to do what you want to do. Now you go back into it. And I'm gonna be real frank and transparent. You know, at one point I did get out the wilderness, and I ended up going right back in. Why? Because Most High gave me a job, gave me a car, gave me my own place. And I'm not going to say I wasn't about him, but I started to allow other things to trickle in. Started to engage in things that I shouldn't have engaged in. And I started to allow my pride. And even now he's dealing with me. It's about pride. It be the littlest thing. We don't really want to see it. And that's the thing about the story of Job. Job had pride that he couldn't see, because even when his 3 friends came, even though they came with accusing spirits, not once did he say, you know what, I'm going to get us to the Most High, or, you know, this is all for the glory of the Most High, or this is the will of the Most. He just kept saying, nah, that ain't why this happening. I ain't do this. I ain't do that. It was a lot of eyes with Job. And Jehoshaphat, he had that eye spirit at first. But as he got humble, being in that prison for 10 years, I think 10 to 12 years, he had enough time to realize. This is why the scriptures say, and I always repeat it, those who abase themselves will be exalted. You'll be asked to come up by the king. But those who will exalt themselves will be abased. Job exalted himself and he had to be abased. But then when it was all said and done, he got back everything double time, triple time. It's a lesson to be learned in everything that we go through. What's your lesson? Same thing with Jehoshaphat. I think he was coming from royalty. Israel was royal. But he had to be humble, because he exalted himself. He had to be abased. But once he learned how to be abased, then he was able to be exalted. And what happened? The king called him out of prison, asked him to interpret his dreams, because he had already did this with the cupbearer and the other servant. See, that servant still remembered them. He didn't remember on his time. He didn't remember on the time that that Jehoshaphat wanted him to remember, but he remembered on Yah time. So when the Pharaoh made the decree that he was about to kill everybody who couldn't tell him about his dream, that servant remembered. He remembered Jehoshaphat then. So, he comes, he interpret the dream, he tell him everything gonna happen, everything happens the way he tell him. Next thing you know, in order for him to become second to the king, he gotta be able to speak 70 different languages, but one gotta be the main language of Egyptian. And this is where you get the Most High. This is where you get Yahushua coming in again, right? So Yahushua comes in with Abraham in the furnace. Yahushua comes in with Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego in the furnace. And this is before he even came into flesh. And now he comes in again in a dream while Jehoshaphat is in the prison, and he teaches him all the languages. So by the time he goes to the king the next day, he's speaking 70 different languages. Come on, man. That's why I say it might seem hard, but what he say, my yoke is light, my burden is easy. What he put on us, it's not hard. We make it hard because we keep fighting against ourselves. We keep fighting against ourselves. Let go. Surrender. Let the Most High. Let Yeshua. Let the Holy Spirit. Yes, it's going to be things that's going to come up against you. Family members. So-called friends. A lot of foes. A lot of enemies. It's the spiritual realm. When we start to get out of the physical understanding of what we are engaging in this thing we call life, and really get in the spiritual and understand that we are spiritual beings having a natural experience and not natural beings with a spirit, man, your vision will change, right? Ask Paul. He went from Saul to Paul for a reason. He had a carnal understanding. He had pride. He was a Pharisee. He used to be with the Sadducees. The whole time he's crucifying Christians. He's going against the ones who really have the truth, the light, and understanding, because he hanging with these devils who assume that they do. It's a confederacy. It's a war going on, people, and it ain't gonna stop going on until you get it, and you gotta get it for sure. You gotta get the understanding, man. This ain't our battle. This is the battle of the Most High, man. So all praises to the Most High, man. I pray that y'all have a beautiful, wonderful week. If the spirit comes back into me, I'll be back, man. But like I said, I hope that was edifying. Man, get into these words, man. Get into this book, man. The edification that it gives the spirit. Stop allowing your spiritual man to suffer because you want to be disobedient, because you want to be hard-headed, and because you want to continue to live in this flesh. The flesh don't live on. That's going to die. The spirit is eternal. Always remember that. Shalom.